I had heard about KUKULKAN, the feathered serpent with a man in its mouth. When I went to the hypnotherapist, I ended up having these amazing memories of Atlantis. I fell into a serpent's mouth, and I thought if I could look at a feathered serpent with a man in its mouth, I wouldn't be insane anymore. We flew into Cancun. We've got a rental car. We went off to Tulum, which is on the east coast, the Caribbean coast of Yucatan. It is gorgeous. The water is that beautiful aquamarine color. Tulum is a ruined site that has a castillo, a castle, that is like an outlook over the ocean there. I asked the guide, do you have a feathered serpent with a man in its mouth? And he said, no. We moved on. The next place we went to was Coba, which is a huge ruined site. It's so big that you can rent bicycles or you can hire someone to drive you around in a bicycle. And there is a magnificent pyramid in Coba that I have climbed. I asked the guide, do you have a feathered serpent with a man in its mouth? And he said, no. So we went on. All right, we've been to Tulum, we've been to Coba. Now we went to Chichen Itza, and we assumed we would see a man in a feathered serpent's mouth here in Chichen Itza, because Chichen Itza has a huge pyramid that you can no longer walk up, which is dedicated to the feathered serpent god KUKULKAN. Flanking the stairs going up to the top is two serpents' bodies. And this serpent is so big that if you walk up to it, you could definitely get your head into that huge serpent's mouth. Well, when I saw this serpent, I got a little bit encouraged. I asked the guide, do you have a feathered serpent with a man in its mouth? Because you can find feathered serpents, but not always with a man in its mouth. And he said, no. So we went on. The next place we went was Uxmal. Looking at it, you would think it would be pronounced Uxmal, but it's not. It's Uxmal. And Uxmal is a different ruin site because its main pyramid does not have sharp corners the way the pyramids in the Giza Plateau in Egypt, the pyramids in Chichen Itza, anywhere where there are pyramids, they have these sharp sides. But in Uxmal, the main pyramid has rounded corners. It's very unusual. Because of this unusual pyramid, I was really hopeful that this could be the place. So again, we asked the guide, expecting them to say, no, we don't have that here, or it was here, but now it's in a museum somewhere. So we said, do you have an image of a feathered serpent with a man in its mouth? And the guy said, yes, we do. Well, when I got there, I remember I was a little bit shaken. I was so excited. There was something called the Nunnery Quadrangle. Now, that is just the name the Spanish explorers called it. Over on the farthest of these buildings with the cells in them, on the top part of it is a serpent. And you really don't see the whole serpent body until you go there for the night show. And then they put these lights on, and at one end is the serpent's mouth, and in the serpent's mouth was a man's head. Now, the man's head in that serpent is not a terrified head. The man is not going, Not only that, if it was a real serpent who was eating the man, it would be eating it likely head first, in which case you'd only see the man's feet. Well, whatever. It's got the man looking out just like this as if he's just enjoying the scenery. Oh, the other thing that was really exciting is that around the head of the serpent with the man in its mouth are stylized images of stars. It was exactly my memory. And the reason they made the stars was because it was flying through the sky. The reason they put feathers on the serpent was because the serpent can fly, or it can create flight. That was exactly my memory of Atlantis. And then I went, well, I'm not the only one. Okay, I'm not insane. My memory is likely real, and these Mayan people likely have a similar memory. And remember, this is my transportation to safety land. Yucatan could very well have been a safety land because it has existed for a long time, even at the time when Atlantis was supposed to be in the Atlantic Ocean. My assumption is that Atlanteans traveled to Yucatan because there's the Atlantic Ocean in the middle. So here's where Atlantis is. So it made sense that Atlanteans would have traveled to Yucatan, the one side, and so that's KUKULKAN, the feathered serpent, and the serpent with the wings and Egypt's on the other. Hello, hello, hello. It's Carol Ann Chapman, and I've written about my experiences in my book, When We Were Gods, which is a chronicle of my memories of Atlantis. And next week, I'm going to continue on this series about finding evidence of Atlanteans in ancient ruin based on my past life memories of Atlantis. Great talking with you. See you soon. Toodaloo. Bye-bye.